Well, that's a wrap in Cleveland. That opening drive, the Boston Scott drive, capped off with a touchdown. The Eagles kept it on the ground for Kenny Gainwell, who found his way into the end zone for touchdown number 2. And then Reed Sinnott finds Devin Allen, the Olympian, going long, 55 yards to the house. Welcome to the Postgame Show, presented by Rico. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni, joined by Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. We didn't see the starters today in Cleveland. It was a rainy start to the day. Became a nicer afternoon. But what did you see from the second-team offense and defense to start things off today, Ike?
I thought they did a great job of really just setting the tone on what they wanted to do today. The first 2 drives, they were able to get points out of it. 14-play drive, 17-play drive. Then they come back with an 11-play drive. They couldn't cash it in on 4th down there, but you could tell the offense pretty much had their way with this Cleveland Browns defense. And the second-team guys, I know the first-teamers got a lot of the work during the week when they had the joint practices. This was the time for these guys to shine, and I thought they did a great job coming out and really setting the tone for what the day was going to be like.
And this was really one of the perfect preseason outcomes because the Eagles get the win, so everybody feels good on the flight home, but plenty to work on both sides of the ball as well. You had some penalties, you had some missed tackles on defense, offensively, some drives that stopped late in the late once you get into opposing territory. So for me, plenty to work on. It was not perfect out there. Obviously, you had the number 2 and number 3 stringers in there, but I think overall, a good afternoon if you're an Eagles fan.
You mentioned those long drives, very extended drives in that first half. What does that do for the offense to try and build and get creative and see what they can do? Kind of like a self-discovery session if you're able to extend drives that long, but so important as something to accomplish in the preseason, Ike.
Well, and here's the other thing. It gives more players opportunities to try to make this football team. Nothing worse in the preseason for guys that are on the bubble trying to make the team than having 3-and-out drives because you're missing out on opportunities to be out there and show this team what you can do. So to have, 40-something odd plays in the first 3 drives, it gave a lot of guys the opportunity to show what they can do. And more importantly, I think it established a certain level of confidence with that second unit. The fact that they could put a hat on a hat, move the football at will, Coach Sirianni instilling confidence, going for it on 4th down time, from time to time, really giving this offense an opportunity to establish an identity. And I love what they did in the first half. Really just ball control the entire first half. Only walked away with 14 points, but it felt like it was more than that when you think about what the offense was able to do.
Yeah, I think when you look at the deep reserves, getting the amount of reps that they did in this game, that's good for those guys and their confidence. And certainly moving forward, it's a crucial part of the offseason because you now have another round of cuts here on Tuesday, final cuts about a week away. So a big opportunity for those guys and one last one coming in the next week.
The first half, like you mentioned, showed the real depth on this football team. I want to talk a little bit about that second-team offensive line. There are guys on that line that could be starters on other football teams. How beneficial is it to have such a strong offensive line group? We talk about this all the time. This is something the Eagles front office really invest in. They invest in that offense and defensive line, but when you see a rookie like Cam Jurgens just mauling people out there, Andre Dillard looked very strong at left tackle today. What does that mean for this team moving forward, Ike?
Well, we saw firsthand how important the depth on the offensive line can be to a team. Just go back to 2017 when we won the Super Bowl, and you think about the guys that had to go in and play extended time. Now, we don't have many guys missing a lot of time with our key veterans, but time to time, you're going to have that. Mm-hmm. So when you get guys like Suopeta, Jurgens out there, Andre Dillard, who looks better this season, looks a lot more confident playing over there at left tackle. Those guys, you never know when your opportunity is going to come where you have to go out there and start. I think it was it 2 years ago that Driscoll had to start the first game of the season? Yeah, because of Lane. And his ankle was injured. So getting these reps, getting out there with the first team. Gardner is a guy, Gardner Minshew, has a lot of starts under his belt. So you basically have a veteran quarterback in the huddle sort of stewarding this thing for him. And I thought our young offensive line, Jeff Stoutland, we praise him a lot around here. And I think the National Football League knows how important and how good of a coach he is. But the work that he puts in with these young players, developing them, it just shows itself. Jordan Mailata, do I need to say more? There's a guy who never played football prior to coming here, and look what he's turned into, potential all-pro at left tackle. These young players are going to benefit from this playing time. More importantly, you can see where they're benefiting from the coaching that they're getting.
Yeah, we were just talking about how beneficial it is for those 4th stringers to be able to get those reps, the 3rd stringers to be able to get those reps. Along the offensive line, that's not an issue in practice because those guys get so many reps, not just in team drills, but in one-on-one work and in individual work. They are always cycling those guys in and out. And also, the players, the veterans, the starters, those guys are invested in developing the players behind them. And so you often see the starters working with the second team working with the third team after reps and saying, hey, you put your hands this way, make sure you come out at this angle in your set. So you see that all the time with that group, and I think it just kind of speaks to the culture that Jeff Stoutland has built in that room.
It was a competitive game for sure. And if you think about the handful of joint practices they participated in this week, we know joint practices are a place for competition. Lane Johnson spoke with Dave Spadaro on the sidelines in the second quarter, and Lane said it felt like we played 2 games this week because that's just how you show up for a practice like that. So to see these guys carrying this type of energy through the whole week, knowing they have another week of joint practices and one final preseason game, how do you think the team is doing from a chemistry standpoint, from a team building standpoint, to be able to string together this strong week before the regular season begins?
Well, when you look at the 2 preseason games that they played, the one thing that I've been impressed with, there's not a lot of penalties. There's not a lot of sloppy football. Sure, they can tackle a little bit better, but I think every team is sort of going through this phase of getting reacclimated to making tackles, as most teams don't tackle in training camp. So you get into a game, that can take a little time to sort of knock the rust off from there. But you're not getting a lot of turnovers from the Eagles. You're not getting a lot of mental errors, pre-snap errors. And that shows you that the type of practices, the detail-oriented practices that they're going through, they're locked in and they're focused. And as far as joint practices go, let me tell you, no one wants to be embarrassed when they're facing a true opponent. So when you go to Cleveland and you got opposite color jerseys out there, Cleveland doesn't want the Eagles coming in and taking over their house out there in Cleveland. And the Eagles are saying, we're coming out here and we're not going to allow you to bully us here either. So I can only imagine what those joint practices were like, especially when you talk about in the trenches, the offensive line and the defensive line. Man, that's a lot of beef up front for both of these teams.
It was very competitive. It was a lot of fun watching those joint practices the last couple of days. And kind of speaking, Ella, to your question about the chemistry aspect of it, these guys really getting together. This is going to be a tough couple days because they've been together out in Cleveland, Ohio for the last few. They've got a night flight tonight. They land tonight. And then you've got the day off tomorrow, but then you've got another flight on Tuesday to head down to Miami, and you're going to spend a few days down there. And so it can be a little bit awkward. Guys that are trying to rehab and just kind of get the body feeling right. You only have one day at home, and you're packing up and going right back on the road again, back into another hotel. So to me, this will be interesting to see how the Eagles handle these next few days down in Miami.
So I mentioned Dave Spadaro on the sidelines. We have a little clip of what he was up to today on the sidelines. I want to know how many coffees he had today. First of all,
Best stiff arm of the day.
He saw him coming off the edge. He was ready. Stiff armed him. This was awesome. But now we have Dave doing yoga, little side plank. Good job working on those obliques, getting nice and strong. Little downward dog. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't see
and
that.
here we
this
go.
One. Yeah.
He was modeling the
Guardian helmet.
The Guardian helmet.
He let. I think we'll see. Yeah, Jason's going to give him a nice whack here. Ross Tucker talked on the broadcast about Jason testing out the shoulder. The shoulder must be feeling right there. The elbow right there.
Whew, Dave was having fun.
And then at the end, he talked about trips to Vegas at the end of the broadcast. Dave was feeling good at this point in the broadcast.
Yeah, in rare form today. I mean, the yoga stuff is really what got me. I mean, come on, man. First of all, I'm embarrassed. I don't think I can get down and do those things. Dave's in pretty good shape.
He is, yeah.
Right? And then you got to be impressed with the fact that he didn't break stride in the interview. He saw it as peripheral vision that somebody was about to walk into his camera shot and gave the quick stiff arm with no problem. So, Dave, what do they say? Jack of all trades.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
This ain't his first rodeo, all right? Well, we're going to hear from quarterback Gardner Minshew at the podium now.
How's it feel to be out there? How's it feel to be doing the performance?
I felt good, man. I thought we had 3 really good drives, long drives, very efficient. Starts with the offensive line, man, pushing the front. Wish we could have finished that third. There's always stuff to learn off of. So excited for that opportunity.
What you and Deion have got some development on those back shoulder fades. How's it feel to see you do that as well, too, and also see Deion develop?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Me and Deion, we had a lot of experience on the scout team last year, so he's a guy I have a ton of confidence in, man. And, so just being able to do that in a game situation is just so much fun, and I'm super happy for him.
What is it about Deion that kind of gives you that confidence?
Yeah, man, I think he has, just plays the ball really well in the air. You put it in the right spot, you can trust him to hold the guy off and make the play. So, always looking for him when he's out there.
I know you're Boston by this point, but what did you see on that deep ball recovery? And have you kind of seen that speed a little bit in practice?
To Devin Allen? I mean, he's that fast for sure. I mean, I think everybody in the world knows that. You know, he's a world record holder for a reason. So, I mean, we were all just so fired up for him to get that, and then Reed put a perfect ball on him. So, big time.
What do you notice from Kenny and Boston?
Tough, man. I mean, they're staying in there for so many plays, you know, running it over and over. So it was good to see that toughness get rewarded and for them to stick it out and get in there.
You spent a decent amount of time with Cam Jurgens this summer. What's your impression of him been, and how good is he in the screen game, you know, kind of pulling and just using his athleticism?
Yeah, he's super athletic, man. He's also very smart, man. For a rookie to come in here and be making all the calls and doing all the things he's doing, it's super impressive. So I'm very excited for his future and for him to just keep getting better.
We saw Carson finally get in there a little bit at the end. How quick, you know, behind the scenes, how is he able to stay patient without getting a ton of reps?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, you know, when you're everybody's used to being the guy and, you know, and being in that situation, you know, so we were all happy to see him out there and, you know, hope for him to get more reps moving forward.
Where have you seen that Jalen Hurts?
Jalen keeps getting better, man. It's been awesome. And it's been awesome for me just seeing how he leads guys, how he connects with people. And, you know, just I'm very excited for what we can be as an offense with him. And especially, man, if he keeps getting better.
You had that one ball that almost got picked after a long series of really great plays. What happened there? How did you...
Yeah, man. So that was a look. They actually gave us in practice like a couple days ago. And, you know, the corner went out. And this time they adjusted, you know. So that was, you know, really good ball by them. You know, that's a mistake. Don't plan on making twice, you know. So a great opportunity to get better and learn from it.
You said late last year you went to Nick about wanting an opportunity to start after obviously winning the game with the Jets. How do you feel about your role now? Obviously, Jay Jones, the quarterback, but, you know, how do you feel about where you are and likely to get back up again?
Yeah, all I want to do is get better, man. I've, you know, in my mind, I've proved to myself that I can play in this league, and that's all that matters. And I know if I continue to get better, then I have a chance to have a really good career in this league. So just continuing to get better, learn from the opportunities like we had today, learn from the guys around me. So just very excited to be here and to be moving forward with the Eagles.
Thanks,
Right on.
That was quarterback Gardner Minshew, who we saw a lot of today. He mentioned how he's proven to be a successful quarterback in this league. When you put him in a quarterback room with Jalen Hurts, they're both on this learning process, this journey together. How important is it to have a guy who does have experience? He was playing in the league before Jalen Hurts was, Ike.
Yeah, it's very important. You know, when you are a team like the Eagles that have the aspirations that they have, having a veteran with a number of starts under his belt like Gardner has is very beneficial to the offense, to the offensive coordinator. You have an extra leader in there that can help be a mentor in that room to some of these younger players. But you also have a guy who's not going to be, the moment's not going to be too big for him. You know, Gardner is a fighter. He knows he's had to overcome a lot just to get in this league. You know, you think about his backstory from his college days and how he had to, you know, went out to Washington State and made something of himself. You know, having a guy like that, I go back to 2017, we know how important this is to this organization. And having a guy like Gardner, you know, you certainly hope that you don't have to play him because of injury, but you know, having that as a security blanket there, it allows the coaches to sleep well at night.
And not just the coaches, but his teammates as well. You feel pretty good about having a guy like Gardner Minshew there in the wings to back up Jalen Hurts, and he's going to help everybody around him in that offense.
We talked about how this was a week in Cleveland. They're going to be home for a day, and then they're headed to Miami. Ike, as a player, from the player perspective, what do you have to do mentally to start the preseason long before the regular season starts, 2 weeks on the road, to really get yourself in gear, get ready for the regular season after kind of spending a good amount of time away from home?
Yeah, I mean, just got to lock in. You know, this is a unique situation with the Eagles in the two joint practices, their last two preseason games on the road, getting the bulk of their work done in the joint practices, and the vets not really having to play in the game. These guys mentally know that even when they're not playing in the games, they need to get the mental reps. They know throughout the week in practice, you got to get the work done during that time. And when practice is over, get off your feet. All right, you got to get rested. You got to make sure you're getting ready it's a marathon through training camp. It's not a sprint, and the veteran players know how to pace themselves, get the work done, but not at the same time not overdo it.
I love what you said there too about taking care of your body away from the field and making sure that you're doing everything you need to do in the meeting room and on your own time. Because when you have guys that they know everything they need to do from a schematic standpoint, from an assignment standpoint, well, now playing that becomes second nature at that point.
So they're going to head down and face the Dolphins, who are a very different team than the Cleveland Browns. New head coach there in Miami. How do you think they kind of prepare? They're going to shift gears super quick, like it's a regular season game week, and prepare for seeing Tua, Tyreek Hill. It's a different type of challenge for this defense, Ike.
Oh, it's going to be fun this week. I guarantee you the defense is looking forward to being in these joint practices against this Miami offense. It's a great test. Tua, a young quarterback that's ascending right now, should give him a stiff test throughout the week and practice. And then you talk about the receiving core that Miami has down there, along with Mike Gesicki at the tight end position. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that's one of the best duos in the league. So I'm sure big play Slade, Bradbury, if he's going, Avante, these guys, they're going to be up for the challenge. You know, when you get an opportunity to go against those caliber of players, you're going to make sure you're ready to go. So I would love to be a part of these joint practices, because I can imagine there's going to be a lot of talking out there when I think about Slade and Tyreek Hill going at each other.
Might get a little chippy. Well, head coach Nick Sirianni, let's see what he has for us at the podium.
And you guys are going to be right up in here, huh? All right.
So what you guys?
Where is everybody? I know the answer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then I went home. Okay. I'm going to give you good stuff, and then Bob, let's make sure that they're always called on first. You guys are the loudest ones when we go anyway.
So what went behind the decision to sit the starters today?
You know, I really felt like we got 2 good days of work, and we really look at those joint practices as a game, right? They played it, and how often do you play a game on Thursday? You play a game Friday, and then come back and play a game Sunday. It's a controlled game setting, and you get what you want. Like, there's some time, like, we didn't get some things today because just you play the situations the game arises. We got more red zone reps against Cleveland on Thursday, or Friday than we did today. So, I felt like we got great work in. Hopefully we can do this again with Cleveland next year. Thought it was really good. I think Coach Stefanski and I have similar thoughts of how that practice should go, and it worked really well. And I felt like, again, like I said, I felt like they got the work in they needed, and that's why I rested them.
Nick, Kenny and Boston didn't play last week. What did you like out of them in those first 2 series?
Yeah, we just were able to kind of pound it a little bit, as far as, maybe it wasn't always pretty and clean, but they were able, we were kind of going and just kind of putting our heads down and running, and they made it work. And sometimes it was muddy, sometimes it was clean, but they ran really well. I thought Boston had a great first series. It was a 13-play drive, so we said get him out of there after that. And then Kenny had what was Kenny's series? 12-play series, and I thought that was good. I said get him after that. Good week for those guys. Kenny had not his best day on Friday, but then he came out and showed out in the game.
Particularly on that 3rd and 13, is that kind of like what he shows you, like, to be flashy, to be able to pick up? I think he had 16 on the.
He's just a tough-nosed kid, He's a guy that's going to be really physical with the ball in his hands and go get the yards, and we trusted him in that scenario. Sometimes it's what the defense plays, and you feel good about it, and he did a good job. I looked at when I yelled at him on Friday, and really. I said after he scored his touchdown, came out, and I go, I just said to him, I love you, man, and he said the same thing back, and I said, on Friday it was maybe the first time I've yelled at you in 2 years, and he said, he didn't think anything of it. He likes the hard coaching, and I'm happy that Kenny Gainwell's on our team.
Nick, kind of piggybacking off of the run game and the screen game, how much does Cam's athleticism help you there? And I know you're going to kind of go back and watch the tape to get the true sense of what he did today, but what did he show you?
Yeah, a lot of the times your interior guys on screens are guys that are getting out first and have to be able to block in space. And, yeah, of course, he did a good job of that. And we know how important that is for that position. So I was pleased with it. I got to watch the tape, like you said, and but I thought he did a nice job when he was in.
From your vantage point, what was your view of the Sinnott to Devin Allen connection?
That was a sweet play, wasn't it? Yeah.
I saw you after the play running down.
That was awesome. Yeah, I'm so happy for him. it's hard to. I think it's hard to do what Devin's done, right? I mean, and he hasn't played football in a while, and he's getting into it, right? He's getting into the groove right there. But there's no denying we've never thought he hasn't played football in 5 years, but for the whole time we thought he was really fast, and he is. And so what a great ball by Reed, what a great what a great catch and route by Devin. But that protection was sweet. That was really good to hold the pocket. I mean, because that was a long developing play, and the protection was right on. I'll have to look at tape exactly what happened. They may have blitzed on that left side, but we handled it really nice, and that was a tribute to the offensive line. I think we were all high-fiving them over on that sideline too.
What do you think of the celebration?
What do you do with the hurdles? I said to him in there, I said, "Hey, we got to get a new celebration because you're a football player now." So
from Reed. Obviously, you guys have always seen the arm with him in practice, but what do you like with his composure, that play and others?
Yeah, again, that play was great to be able to sit in the pocket. He made a couple nice plays with his feet. That was nice to see. And it's hard. It's hard to go in when you sit out the whole first half and then come in the second half. So, I'd like for him to get in and start fast, but I think once he settled in, I thought he did a nice job again.
If I can go and ask you one since there's nobody else there. What's your favorite Brandon Graham story?
Brandon Graham story. Gosh, there's too many right there. He just I don't even know if it's a story. He's just the same guy every single day. The same. There's never a day where he doesn't have energy coming in, and guys feed off that. All right, and so he's the type of leader he is because of one, his play, and B, his energy and his love for football. And so, man, it's just I don't tell him enough. I need to tell him every day how happy I am he's back.
All right, thanks
everybody. Thanks, guys.
You heard it all from head coach Nick Sirianni as the team now prepares to head down to Miami. But earlier in the show, we were talking a lot about Cam Jurgens, that offensive line. So Fran cooked up something good for us in this week's Rico Review.
All right, so for our Rico review, I want to back this bad boy up to the very first play from scrimmage. This is going to be a run by Boston Scott off the right side, and it's a staple run play for the Eagles. It's called a pin pull sweep. And you might say, Fran, what is a pin pull sweep? Well, break it down. You're going to have the front side of this offensive front. They are going to pin. They're going to try and create a soft edge here, try and remove the first level of the defense, pin them inside, create some displacement if you can. So you're going to get right tackle Jack Driscoll and both of these tight ends. You're going to try and pin the D end and pin the D tackle. Now, that's what the outside part of the formation is doing. Inside, you're going to get a couple pullers in Sua Opeta and Cam Jurgens. Their goal is to get up to the second level as lead blockers for Boston Scott on this play. As we let this run for a second, you're going to see the landmarks for Opeta. He wants to get the force player, the first guy out there on the edge. Cam Jurgens, he's got to get up to the play side linebacker. And just watch Jurgens, because he has an outstanding block here at the second level where he is going to keep releasing. Watch him turn the arc like a running back. He runs this perfectly, and Boston Scott plays right off of his hip, and he helps clear the way for a first down. Cam Jurgens, his athleticism, his ferocity on contact, his ability to seek and destroy a moving target in space, that's what made him a second-round pick by the Eagles here this past spring. Cannot wait to see him continue his career here in Philadelphia. This is just the beginning for number 51, Cam Jurgens. But the Eagles, bunch of run plays on that opening drive. They march right down the field and score. Boston Scott, 11 touches on that drive. 10 of them runs just like this one to punch the Eagles into the end zone.
That'll do it for us here on the Postgame Show presented by Rico. Be sure to stay tuned to everything we have this week going on PhiladelphiaEagles.com, the Eagles mobile app, and all social channels. And we'll be right back here on the kickoff show next Saturday at 12:15 before that 1 o'clock kick against the Dolphins. For myself, Fran Duffy, and Ike Reese, as always, go Birds.